What's happening, people? The Batman and Robin of AFC footy coverage is back. Michael Talks Football joins me once again, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the biggest takeaways from the last round of Asian World Cup qualifying, aka matches 5 and 6. Before we get into this, drop the video a like, hit subscribe for more Asian footy content here on Deadball TV, check out Michael's channel, and let us know your biggest takeaway down below in the comments. Michael, welcome back. What's your biggest takeaway, man? What are we going to start with here?
Oh, you want to start off spicy? Like it's habanero?
Habanero, Szechuan, whatever.
Let's go with it. Qatar are not qualifying to the World Cup.
It's done and dusted. Round 4, they're getting bounced.
They're getting bounced. 100%. This team are an atrocity. Atrocity. I mean, how many goals have they have conceded 17 goals in 6 games. 17 goals, people. They just got smacked around 5-piece from KFC by UAE. This isn't Japan. This isn't Iran. This isn't Uzbekistan. The UAE, this has gotten so bad. This team is so reliant on just outscoring every opponent. Lucas Mendes, I thought he was a beast at the Asian Cup. He needs to get arrested right now. FBI need to go to his house and arrest him. He is the biggest liability in all of AFC. From any team, Kuwait, North Korea, Kyrgyzstan, Lucas Mendes is that penalty he gave up was so bad. Barsham is returning to fraudulent behavior like he was at the World Cup in 2022. You cannot tell me right now when they're not getting the top 2 spots in this group. So when they get to the 4th round, I have no confidence in them. Even Oman would beat these guys at the moment, and Oman have no attack. Oman will just take that game to penalties and somehow win it. They're not beating Indonesia right now. I'm sorry. No, Indonesia right now are a better team than Qatar. China are a better team than Qatar. So I have no confidence in this team. And if they even make it to an intercontinental playoff, they will get smacked around by any team in this world. And maybe the OFC team could give them a good game. Whoever it's going to be, New Caledonia, Fiji, or whatever. Qatar are such an embarrassment to how they have fallen this much drastically. This is like, if you want to give other examples around the world, like Chile or Venezuela. Venezuela had that high at the Copa America. Since then, Titanic settings. Qatar, since the Asian Cup, Titanic settings. So this defense is an atrocity. The midfield can't control games, and it's Akram Afif and God help us, because they need God right now, because they are just such an embarrassment. They're not qualifying to the World Cup. I don't think that's even a hot take, but not even from the 4th round. I have no confidence in this team.
Is it fair to say Qatar had the greatest purple patch in history at the last Asian Cup? I mean, I think we're approaching that conversation here, at least with Chile. They won 2 in a row. Yeah. Well, at least you're talking 2019, the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, at least they were better, though. Like, they weren't terrible in 2019.
But, I mean, after that, they were not good.
Under Felix Sanchez. Yeah, there were some really bad results. I remember them doing a couple European tours and just getting killed. But, I mean, at least occasionally they kind of flexed some sort of we are Asian champions muscle. Right now, it's a conversation we've had many times where if they had a harder group in round 2, they might not even be here. And that is just mind-boggling to me. If you made a AFC World Cup qualifying worst 11, how many Qataris get in there? 4?
Lucas Mendes, Barsham. I think I put Goalkeeping, the other center back, in there. So maybe 3 or 4, yeah.
Maybe 3 or 4. Fati, he was the best CDM at the Asian Cup. Yep. Man's terrible now.
100% him as well.
There's a situation where the 2 finalists from the Asian Cup might not qualify. Jordan and Qatar.
That is crazy.
It's a long shot. It's a long shot. But what does that say? How would you respond if that's the case, where Qatar and Jordan are eliminated, albeit in round 3, round 4, whatever, intercontinental playoff? Who cares? What would you say? What would your response be?
They're frauds.
Both.
Okay. You don't make the final of an Asian Cup and don't qualify for the World Cup. Don't give me that BS. They're frauds then. Simple as that.
So do the fumbles from Iran and Japan and South Korea look even worse?
Oh, even worse. Even worse. Come on, man. They have shown that they are good sides with the quality. At least for Qatar and Jordan. You build upon that. All right, we did so well at the Asian Cup. We won it. We made it to the final for the first time ever if you're Jordan, and you don't qualify to the World Cup. Where's the progress? Can guarantee you this right now. If Qatar don't make it to the World Cup this time around, we're not going to see them for a long time.
They will probably fade back into being a tier 3 Asian power, not
Yes.
even tier 2. Like, I think because recently with the back-to-back Asian Cups and the World Cup, a lot of people not super close to Asian football kind of see Qatar as honestly, as a Saudi Arabia. It's like that level of authority. They were never that before.
Nope.
And I remember at least a year ago when I was watching a lot of like the youth Asian Cups and stuff, their youth teams are getting killed too. Like, it's not even a case where it's like, well, at least the U20s. Like, difference between, I'd say, the two most underperforming teams, hands down right now, Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Hands down. The difference is Saudi Arabia at the youth level, beasts.
Yep.
Final every time. U17 final, U20 final, U23 final, where they inevitably play Japan or Uzbekistan, and sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. But the Saudi youth teams, there's something there. Qatar? As soon as Akram Afif retires, who, by the way, if he does not get a 30-foot solid gold statue dedicated to his honor, Qatar did him wrong. These guys are done. I mean, depths of hell.
So you don't
Done.
think they're going to qualify from the fourth round either?
I think I have no faith in Kyrgyzstan and North Korea. They will go to round 4, where they will lose, is what I think happens to them.
Okay.
Unless they got to get like Palestine, just because Palestine can't shoot.
Would that be one of the biggest disappointments in AFC history, that the Asian Cup champions cannot qualify to the World Cup?
Depends how you want to look at it. You either look at the Asian Cup and you say, this is why international football is beautiful. You know, it's like AFCON madness almost. Or you say Asia's weak because how could you have allowed Qatar to do this? Kind of depends what angle you want to look at it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I would see it. But insane what we're about to see with these two teams. If Saudi Arabia also don't qualify, Saudi Arabia, after spending $20 billion on their domestic football, don't qualify. You get Mancini, then you get Renard back, and you still don't qualify. That would be, what's more embarrassing?
No, I would say just take Qatar. You cannot be Asian Cup champions back to back and not qualify for World Cup. I'm sorry. And have a baller like Akram Afif. Maybe, okay, yes, you could say Saudi Arabia, they pump more money into their football. Fair enough. I mean, come on, Qatar. They have proven themselves. 2019, Asian Cup champions, fully deserved. People could say fraudulent winners of 2024 Asian Cup. Fair enough. You want to say that, go ahead, but I think they were still a very good team. Right now, what we're seeing is not even a top 12 team in Asia.
Yeah, not even top 12. Flirting with like that 13 to 15 range, 100%. One of my takeaways, kind of overall, not just from the last window, is that there's still a clear gap, in my opinion, between the tier 1 Asian powers and everybody else. I really think when you look at Iraq, Jordan, Uzbekistan, UAE, I might even have to throw Saudi Arabia in there now, maybe Indonesia burgeoning into that, Oman, whatever it may be. All of these teams can't put it together. They're just not consistent. There's always one thing that is weirdly wrong in like every single game, and they don't quite have either the tactics, the personnel, or the luck to get the results of the big 3. And I think we're seeing a bunch of these guys fighting to be like, no, I'm the 4th best team in Asia. When we did our power rankings, all the Iraqis were pissed that I didn't have them in the top 5. All the Uzbeks were pissed that I didn't have them in the top 3. All the Australians were pissed that I had them at 6. Everybody was mad, basically, except for the Thais and the Japanese. Everybody else was pissed. The Iranians were pissed I had them 2nd. So everybody's like, me. I feel like a teacher in the class. Everyone's like, all right, who's the 3rd best team? Who's the 2nd best team? Everybody's raising their hands. Jordan, why are you an elite team in Asia? And then they don't have an answer. But they're stuttering. Okay, all right. Well, you're clearly not ready. Iraq, how about you? Why are you one of Asia's elite teams? The defense Ayman Hussein. Okay, well, that's not a very good answer. Uzbekistan, what about you? Nobody seems to be ready quite yet. And that's either a good or bad thing. I don't know what your reaction is to that.
A lot of these teams are moving like the LA Clippers. They got the talent, but they can't put it together in the most
Mm,
demanding moment possible. And right now, this is where the butt cheeks are clinching. Who's going to really want
mm,
to take that spot as the fourth best team in Asia? I thought it would be Iraq or Jordan. Maybe Iraq are getting closer to that. Australia, I have no confidence in them anymore. But I think it's more of an issue that teams are feeling the pressure. Teams like Japan, Iran, South Korea, they've been here before. They know what it is. Okay, you could say the same thing for Saudi Arabia. They've been here before, but clearly Saudi Arabia are just going through the mud at the moment. I think a lot for these teams is they're feeling the pressure of qualifying to the World Cup because now they know that there's more slots available. There's a huge opportunity to create a moment of happiness for your nation, a beautiful moment possible that fans will forever remember. And I think the players are really feeling it, but I think it's the managers more that are really feeling it. I look at managers like Katanich. I don't know what he's doing in the second half against North Korea, trying to throw the game away. Jesus Casas, second half, they win the game. Both of those teams won the game, but it wasn't convincing. Jordan, I don't know what it is. Look, they show the moments of a brilliant side, can't put it together for 90 minutes. So I think it's a lot that teams are feeling the pressure. I see the same thing in South America. You see the same thing in Europe. You see the same thing in CONCACAF. Teams have a lot of quality. Same thing in the Premier League. You talk about club football.
mhm.
Pressure, you cannot put on the metrics pressure. There's no XP expected pressure. You can only feel that as a player and as a manager. And right now, with 4 games to go, it's going to feel even more pressure. And I wonder which teams are going to stand up. Now we're going to see which teams have the mentality and which teams don't.
Well said. I think because of the situation where you have a lot of guys either trying to qualify for their first World Cup ever or their first World Cup in a long time, pragmatism has kind of dug its claws
Mm,
into AFC qualifying, and especially teams like Iraq and Uzbekistan. These guys look genuinely terrified to fumble it.
yes.
Like, they don't even look like they're trying to win these games. They're like, we can't lose. We can't lose. We can't drop points. And I couldn't tell you who's better, Iraq or Uzbekistan right now. I really couldn't. Personnel wise, you made a combined Uzbek Iraqi 11. Probably maybe a few more Uzbeks in there. Maybe that's personal bias. But there's nothing separating these guys on paper. And that's because I think both coaches and the players know if we don't qualify for this, oh, we're getting massacred.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
we are enemies in our country.
So which team do you think has the least pressure to not qualify to the World Cup?
Of like the tier twos,
Yeah, the tier twos, yeah.
the least pressure to not qualify. Oh man. Can I can I say the UAE?
Yeah, you can say UAE, yeah.
Okay. I just feel
What
like
about
maybe
what about Jordan? Do you think they have a lot of pressure to qualify?
I think Jordan, yes, I do. If you disagree,
Okay.
let us know in the comments. I'm also not super bullish on the Jordan youth horizon right now. I think they have a beast mode generation and they need to get these guys to a World Cup. I think there could be a fall off. I'm not predicting that, but I think they have something special here and they need to go. Uzbekistan, even, bro, look at you look at the youth teams. Look at the Uzbek league. These
The U
guys are
U
gonna, if
the U17s just beat England in the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, or some European team.
didn't the U20s draw Argentina 1-1?
Yeah. So the Uzbeks
I
got
mean,
a good future.
the Uzbeks got a good future. Iraq, these guys are never gonna fall off like that. You know what I'm saying? Jordan, could they go through like what Kuwait's going through right now, which is like a total down for the national team? Yes, they. Jordan doesn't have the Saudi Arabian youth team. Jordan and Qatar are kind of like, hey, we got Afif, Al Tamari, Naimat, Amos Ali. Do not fumble this.
Hmm.
And the UAE, I think I said less pressure for them, maybe because they get talked about so little. But I think I'm maybe
Yes.
being unfair with that. I feel like internally, I would love for an Emirati to say, "Oh no, we're sacking Bento 100% if we don't qualify." I don't know what the pulse check is. I don't hear from that fan base very often.
I think he's in a good heart rate at the moment. I don't think there's any pressure on him.
Oh, he's chilling right now in some hookah bar, probably pondering a contract extension.
Remember when we talked about who's got the ice cold chair right now in Asian football? Is it Paulo Bento now, alongside Moriyasu and Shin Tae-yong?
I think he's joined them.
He's joined them. He's joined the ice
He's
club.
joined them. We said North Korea manager was number 3 last time. I don't know anymore. I don't think anymore. Dude is definitely not Katanich though from Uzbekistan. There was a strong reaction when they lost to Qatar 3-2. There was Katanich out. That was floated
Oh,
from
hashtag cut it out.
from the right wing extremist side of the Uzbek fan base. They were saying Katanich out. Get somebody else in here. I don't even think it's Popovich, dude. He's got to get going with Australia. Maybe
100%.
maybe Beatsy with Kuwait, right? He's at Kuwait. Yes. Am I wrong? Is Antonio Pizzi
Pizza,
Kuwait
yeah,
right now?
Juan Antonio Pizza, yeah,
Yeah. I think he's overperforming as well.
yeah.
He's pretty chilling. All right, you got another takeaway?
Is that Indonesia's greatest victory ever that they had?
Yes.
Now, this is more just about this window. I think that was phenomenal from Indonesia. The way they
Yes.
just dismantled, they had a win in the 2007 Asian Cup. Obviously, they beat Vietnam earlier this year in the Asian Cup, but that performance I thought was phenomenal from Indonesia overall. Like Marcelino to score those 2 goals and to have that is the aura celebration like Roman Reigns. Put the finger up and everybody just look at me. Marcelino knew exactly what he was doing and he fully deserved it. I think for Indonesia, look, they get some hate from people outside of Indonesia because they talk a lot, they have a lot of confidence. They can have all the smack talk they want for this. They can be the Conor McGregor of Asian football right now. For the performance they did to win that game, they fully deserve it. I'm actually very happy for them because they're extremely passionate about football. You could talk about Qatar, you could talk about other nations. Oh, do they really have passion for football? Indonesians, they will die for football at this moment in time. So for me, that's their greatest victory ever. To do that to a powerhouse Asian team like Saudi Arabia, and for Verdonk turned into beast mode Roberto Carlos prime-esque in that game. I thought it was unbelievable. So for Indonesia, they've had some good performances. They've obviously drawn with Saudi Arabia, they've drawn with Australia, but to get that marquee victory, when you look at like a schedule in college football or college basketball, they're always like, do they have that marquee win? Indonesia got it right now. Now, let's see how they do. 4 games to go. They still got to play Japan away. I think that's the last game. Is their World Cup dream alive? Let's see. But for me, that's their biggest victory ever in their history. Do you agree?
Indonesia got a marquee win before Uzbekistan.
Wow.
Tell me, I'll wait. Who did Uzbekistan beat?
Are you specifically talking about this round?
I'm talking. We can go back to last year and a half. Who Uzbekistan beat?
They didn't really beat anybody marquee at the Asian Cup. They only beat Thailand. Yeah, this might be it. Wow. Indonesia actually got a powerhouse victory over Uzbekistan. That is crazy.
That's not hate. This is
No, it's
was
not.
my biggest issue when I was doing the rankings with Uzbekistan. They were like, "Oh, we're top 4, we're top 3." I'm like, "You haven't beat anybody." And they're like, "Oh, Jordan, Iraq." I'm like, "Iraq beat Japan. Jordan beat Iraq. Jordan beat Saudi Arabia.
South
Jordan
Korea.
beat South Korea. Who have you beat? Nobody." This was my. I'm very proud of Indonesia. I know people think I'm an Indonesia hater. Ridiculous. Shin Tae-yong's one of my favorite managers. That guy, lifelong contract. We said that episode 1, bro. Roll the tape. Episode
Get the
1.
statue, everything.
Get
Gold
the statue,
statue.
dude. They were losing games, and we were still like, no, he's the GOAT. All right. So we need to put that narrative aside. This is what I've been waiting on. This is what I've been harping on with Indonesia, because they were in that Venezuela territory where it's like, okay, these draws are great. Beat somebody good. And now you took down Saudi Arabia, and not just Saudi Arabia with dad back in the house. Renard, oh, we're expecting a masterclass. Poppy's home. He's going to completely rejuvenate the team. And not only did you beat them 2-0. You had way scarier
Should have
chances
been
that
4
Saudi
0.
Arabia created. Should have been 4-0. So this isn't even Indonesia won 2-0 against Saudi Arabia, comma, and they were lucky. No, 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 no. Indonesia beat Saudi Arabia 2-0, comma, and it could have been more. That's the headline here. That's why it's the biggest win ever for them. I'm sure when they were still a colony of the Netherlands, they probably drew France 1-1. Respectfully, nobody cares. This is by far the biggest result. And this is one of the biggest results from Southeast Asia ever.
Vietnam never got a marquee victory like this. Never. Let's not forget, Indonesia drew with Australia as well, 0-0. The
Mhm.
only time where Indonesia has looked like a subpar team was against Japan. But everybody's looking subpar against Japan at the moment. I thought, Marcelino, this guy needs to start every game. He is so good on the counterattack. The runs in behind, he's the only player, and I talked about this in my video, shameless plug, is that he's the only one who looks like confident in front of the goal. Every other player, Struik, Ragnar, they look frightened by the big goal. Marcelino's like, give me the ball and I'll put the ball in the back of the net. He's the Kyrie Irving of this team. Give him the ball and he'll do the magic. Unbelievable performance. And the celebration, truly warranted.
Mhm.
And
That
Itis, by
was
the
the
way,
one mistake.
Itis as well, sorry, is he might be one of the best center backs in AFC. Beast.
Ooh, I'm not ready
I know
yet.
the performance.
I'm not ready. I'm
I
not
know the
ready yet.
performance against Japan wasn't good, but Itis, I mean, the dude is doing God's work with the way he's defending sometimes.
So we're counting Verdonk as an outside defender.
Yeah, he's a left back. Yep, left wing
Okay.
back. If you want
Okay.
to put it like that.
Okay. Dude, where does he rank right now in the AFC left backs? He's
I
top
mean,
three for sure.
what about Marcelino? Are we gonna soon put him at that sort of pedestal at like Faisulayev, like those sort of up and coming stars of AFC, like Faisulayev, Ali Jazim, and those sort of guys? Is Marcelino soon gonna get into that VIP club?
He's damn close. I was gonna say that's the one mistake I think Shin Tae-yong made was not playing him enough. I think maybe he fell too in love with some of the Dutch guys coming over. You gotta play Marcelino. Have to.
Yep.
Have to. Because he's also the local guy too. I think it's really important for the fan base as well to see that guy out there. And it's not from charity. It's because he's the truth. So I think the only thing keeping him out of the Ali Jassim discussion is playing time. Ali Jassim playing a lot for Iraq. We just need to see a couple more performances from Marcelino. How Struik gets more minutes than him, I don't understand that. I don't. I really don't. Okay, I got another takeaway here on the opposite side of things. It's kind of a sad takeaway. Apologies for that. Still drop a like in the video. I think the state of goalkeeping in Asia is quite concerning to me, and I think it's lagging behind the development of the rest of the pitch. I mean, we talked in the other video very briefly about the ability for Asian goalkeepers to play out from the back. And I'm currently compiling a document. It's not done yet.
Oh God!
Of
This
the
document
pass
ain't gonna look
completion
good.
rate. I'm telling you, so
It's
far,
gonna look
dude,
like
it is,
WikiLeaks.
bro. It is. Yeah, I'm definitely getting put on a watch list after publishing this from several federations because they don't want their goalkeepers to get exposed this badly. I'll just say overall, I've only done a couple goalkeepers, including Martin Pies. No goalkeeper that I've done yet, and I haven't done Zion Suzuki, has a pass completion rate of 50% or higher.
50% or higher. Nobody.
50%. 50%. Yeah.
Oh
It's
man.
interesting. Now, stats
This.
aside, I think we're just seeing the ball playing goalkeeper. I think we're still a decade away from that in Asia, like being throughout all the teams. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. That sort of that possession style of football playing out from the back that hasn't really been developed in Asia as of right now. To be honest, it's not really been developed a lot in international football. Maybe you could say that a lot for European teams, but that's always
Europe.
been the DNA of European teams. South America, kick it long. CONCACAF, kick it long, in my opinion. AFC, I feel like they're going to slowly get to that possession-based style, but if I look at all the goalkeepers, the state of it, not great. What's a what's a confident goalkeeper that you can say? Actually, Yusupov, but he's not great on his feet. But the dude is damn good goalkeeper. Yusupov is a
Mhm.
baller. Basil from Iraq, another great goalkeeper. Other than that, well, it's definitely not the backup goalkeeper for Jordan because holy cow, that cameo was terrible.
Whoa, bro. That was one of the worst howlers I've seen. When Kuwait scored that, bro, because I predicted Jordan was going to get revenge and win the game 2-1. When he conceded that, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. Like,
Mm.
unacceptable, quite
And then
frankly.
the Martin Pice mistake he had for was it Japan's third or fourth goal in the game. Terrible. I don't know what he's doing there with the ball. So yeah, you could say the standard of goalkeeping isn't good with the ball at the feet, but I think there's some up and coming goalkeepers. Let's put it like that.
Do you think that Asia or Africa is better goalkeepers right now?
No, Africa still. Ron Reynolds Williams from South Africa would be the best goalkeeper in this continent.
Dog. Yeah.
Bono from Morocco would be the best goalkeeper of this continent. Do I say Edouard Mendy? I don't know. Maybe not as much anymore. So I would still put CAF over AFC in terms of that. What about CONCACAF?
Who's got better goalkeepers, Asia or CONCACAF? Whoa, that's a good one because the state in CONCACAF is not very good right now. I
No,
mean,
it's not good.
Mexico, there's not. Luis Malagon,
Eh,
okay.
he's
Matt
okay, yeah.
Turner,
Eh,
I don't know. Andre Blake, he's getting old, man. He's kind of
oh,
the
after that mistake
performances are
against
declining.
USA, no, not anymore.
Not anymore. I mean, who else? I mean, probably Mosquera from
Yeah,
Panama. He's good.
he's still,
That's a good
yeah,
goalkeeper. And I like St. Clair, and I like both of Canada's goalkeepers. That's interesting. If you did a top 10 ranked, we should totally do this. I
yes,
have
hundred
no
percent.
idea what the top 10 would look like.
If you
Who,
combine
who do you
AFC
think's
and CONCACAF, who would have more goalkeepers?
in the top 10? Let us know in the comments.
Mm.
To end my takeaway, who would you say are the top 3 goalkeepers in Asian qualifying so far?
Yusupov, I think Zion Suzuki has extremely improved to what I saw at the Asian Cup. I thought the dude was going to be a fraud. But what I've seen so
Mhm.
far from Zion Suzuki is amazing. And then I'll put Basil as well from Iraq. Those would be my top three. I think they've been
Okay.
outstanding.
Okay. I'm gonna
I would put Yusupov at number one.
Yusupov number 1. Okay, I would go Suzuki, Isa from UAE.
Yeah, you could put him there. Yeah.
I mean, dude, UAE not conceding goals, and he's got a penalty save too.
Mm.
Not Iran's goalkeeper. No, it might be
Yeah.
Yusupov 3 right
Mm.
now. It's not Tukabayev from Kyrgyzstan. Good lord. Good
Actually,
lord,
that's a
that guy.
good point you made about Iran. Beravand has fallen off a cliff.
Yeah.
And he used to be top two goalkeeper all the time at AFC. He's fallen off a cliff. Obviously, age is probably catching up to him, but now you see other goalkeepers like Basil and Yusupov really step up for their nations. I feel like Martin
Yeah.
Price can emerge to that because I think he's a quality goalkeeper, but his defense is not helping him.
No, not at the moment. I like Abdullaila from Jordan too, but I put him outside the top 3. He's probably my 5 right now, something like that.
Five, yeah,
That's an
but yeah,
interesting. We should do
The
this
AFC
another time.
the standard of AFC goalkeeping is not the greatest compared to what you see at the striker position. I think that's quality. Defensively, we're seeing a lot better. Midfield, if you had to do a ranking, I think strikers is number one in AFC right now in terms of the whole field. Defense is 2, midfield is 3, goalkeepers is 4.
Would you consider wingers as part of that number 1?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I think the state of wing play is incredible in Asia right now.
Mm.
Like, I mean, let's look outside of round 3. Even Malaysia have good wingers.
Oh
Like
yeah,
there's ballers
Thailand.
everywhere. Thailand's got some ballers. Yes. Vietnam, I don't know. I have to
Eh.
check the roster again. Syria, probably not. But
Definitely not Lebanon either.
whoa, bro, definitely not. But there's some real talent throughout
Mm.
on the wide play. You got another takeaway?
Here's my last takeaway.
Okay.
Are Jordan good or are they just underperforming so far in this qualifiers?
I think we said in the last video, UAE had become one of the most fascinating positive teams to start discussing and having storylines about. Jordan are extremely confusing, in my opinion, because I choose to believe, and I genuinely do believe, that Kuwait are a bogey team for them. I think it's a really, really bad matchup for Jordan. And I think you look at the goals conceded against Kuwait. I mean, again, I've said it 30 times on the channel. It's a ridiculous, completely unnecessary red card late in the game in the first leg. And then that goalkeeping on the Kuwait equalizer in the last one. That's the difference in 4 points right now. So you look at that, you look at the Kuwait games, you say, now these guys are frauds. They're not that good. But then you look at them destroying Oman. You look at them decisively beating Palestine. You look at them going to Basra and not losing. They're the only team to do that. They're the only team that hasn't lost there yet. And Iraq were not robbed. It was a very even, boring ass game, unfortunately.
It was terrible.
So I don't know what to think about them, dude. I don't. They're so inconsistent. They need their stars to be their best. And right now it's been an Al Naimat, Al Marty carry job with Owan showing up occasionally and Al Tamari still being back in France.
I mean, I don't know what to think of them right now. I think they're putting all their eggs into the basket of we're going to beat Iraq in that final match day. And that's a scary proposition to do because you're not even
Scary
guaranteed.
basket.
And it's a scary basket, and it's not something you want to lay your eggs into because are you even going to be in contention on that final match day? What if Iraq get a point at home against South Korea? What if Jordan go away to South Korea and get demolished? What then? So all of these underperformances against Kuwait, you cannot drop both games against Kuwait. I'm sorry. Even though Kuwait have been a cute little story for Jordan, the finalists of the Asian Cup, and they haven't had like dramatic injuries. Obviously, Al Tamadi missed a couple of games, but Al Naimat is the truth. Al Naimat deserves to play at the World Cup. I tweeted this out. Al Naimat, will be the breakthrough star at that World Cup from every nation because the dude is unbelievable footballer.
Unreal.
But you cannot like the second half against Kuwait. They have control of the game. 1-0, lock it down. And I don't know why they didn't push for a second goal. They would have gotten a second goal, but instead they allow Kuwait. Look, Kuwait don't have all the attacking talent, but don't give them the opportunity. These smaller teams will just find a way, just scrap their way to getting some sort of goal. And eventually Kuwait got the goal. And then Jordan realized, oh, we should get a goal here, guys. Last 20 minutes. And then they started pushing for, and they could have lost the game at the end because Kuwait had a 4-on-2. What if they lost the game against Kuwait? Oh, this would be an even more fascinating storyline. So I think they're a good team, but they haven't been performing like it. You could say the same thing for Uzbekistan. I think Uzbekistan are a good team. Are they performing like it? Not really. So a lot of these teams are just underperforming to what they should be, and Jordan are definitely one of those.
Do you think Jordan are struggling like this because going into this round, they were probably considered to be the second best team, and now they're having to play a different type of style of football that's very different to what got them success at the Asian Cup? Like, they were so good at the Asian Cup that they're no longer able to just sit back and counter.
Yep. I think the element of surprise is gone for them now. It's gone. So how do they approach the games? If they're creative, if they don't have any creativity from Al Naimat, Al Tamari, and when Olwan is playing, okay, Al Mahdi, step up. Al Mahdi can't stop every game and say save our asses. No, it can't happen every time. So I think Jordan have lost the element of surprise. Teams know that they are a good team, and now Jordan have to prove it, and they haven't really proven it in all of these games. One dominant performance against Oman, cool. It's Oman. Oman are not the same team anymore.
Now, that being said, if they got a result against South Korea, would it just flip the other way immediately again?
No, I don't know. I really don't know. This is such a confusing team, and this is such a confusing qualifiers. That's why I love AFC qualifiers, and that's why I love World Cup qualifiers. I think it's just all coming down to that game in Jordan, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've already been looking for the flights. I'm looking for the flights to Amman. 10th of June. It's probably going to be 50 Celsius. I'm going to burn like a red tomato, but that game is going to be everything. And I don't want the pressure that both teams will feel on that day. You cannot measure it. So I'm really fearful that Jordan are just playing for that match day. Okay, they're just trying to get those victories here. We're going to beat Palestine at home. Maybe we'll get a point away to South Korea. You cannot have that approach. Away to Oman, still not an easy game. I'm a little bit fearful that Jordan will not qualify from this round. I still think they will qualify because I think they're a top 6 team in Asia, but it's dwindling. It's dwindling. I'll say
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, the drop points against Kuwait have kind of done them in
Mm.
this. That being said, Iraq, by virtue of still living on the edge and winning every single game 1-0, like there is the opportunity to be leapfrogged by Jordan, but that defensive solidity, the Iraqi backline, I think, has been incredible. It's giving them the edge in my head right now.
Yep.
My last takeaway, which might be offensive, is I genuinely think Japan's B team would still be in first in Group C.
I agree. Is this even a question? Come on, bro. Maybe their C team. You could just get a team
Maybe
full
the
of J
C
League
team.
J League players, and they would win this group. Would that be the case? If they only had J League players, would they win this group?
Oh, would they? I don't know if they'd win the group. They'd finish second.
With the way things are going, I think they're winning this group as well.
I think they get a lot of
I'm not an
draws.
avid follower. I'm not an avid follower of J League football, but the league is good. Always got players moving to Europe, so I imagine that there's enough quality there. But I mean, look at the state of the rest of this group. This group is an atrocity, except for
Yeah,
Japan.
but Mao Hisoya being the starting 9, that ain't a round 3. That's not a round 3 group winning striker right there. Yeah, they would 100% be top 3 though. And I think
Yes,
that's crazy. And that's also 50% how good Japan are, 50% how diabolical everybody else has been. Like nobody wants to step up and like I want to qualify to the World Cup. Nobody's saying that. Except for
I don't
maybe
think I don't think Hatate had any minutes in this window, and he's balling out with Celtic. Maeda balling out with Celtic. Furuhashi balling out with Celtic, and these guys barely get any minutes for the national team.
Mhm.
Australia or Saudi Arabia would crave for a player like that in their national team.
Mhm.
So that just shows you the quality of Japan is just staggering. It really is. They're not going to get tested until they get to that World Cup.
Yeah. Junya Ito has been Rem's best player this season. He's a backup.
It's crazy.
It's insane, dude.
I
Keito
mean, I
Nakamura,
haven't
same thing.
I mean, the Ogawa, the guy who was starting a striker for
Mhm.
both games, he's had a pretty decent season with Eredivisie. I can't remember the team's name again. Forgive me, people, but comes into the starting lineup and gets goals. I mean, it just shows you just any player. Looks like Moriyasu has just built a steam roll engine at the moment with trains just going back and forth, just saying, "All right, we're gonna pile drive you, give you a tombstone there." It's just unbelievable what they have developed, and this is just I think it's just a hallmark of Japanese football and all the development they've done in the last 30 years since the establishment of the J League. Just proven it that if you just have a good idea and you have good technical ballers and the academies are working well, plus coaching,
Yes.
you can build a super team of Asian football. And that's what they're doing right now. And I think that's something that a lot of Asian teams can look at with Japan's doing.
Yeah, you have to think the Japanese model is the one to follow rather than the Chinese or the Saudi model, which might have mixed benefits to the domestic game. Of course, like Saudi clubs in the
Mm,
AFC Champions League are almost unbeatable, but it's killed the national team. So you,
yes.
you do kind of got to look at the Japanese model as the way forward, is kind of what I'm saying there.
But do you think Itakura will be a starter at the next World Cup?
If he is, Japan won't make it past the round of 16.
Okay.
He's dude, he's not it.
Can you imagine?
He
There's
is
nobody
not the
else
type
to.
of center back for how Japan want to play. He's too much of a
True.
liability. He makes too many mistakes. If Japan sat back more, maybe. But that high line chasing people in, no, he cannot, and he
Man,
cannot deal
this
with fast players.
this team desperately need Tomiyasu at that World Cup. He needs to get fit. He's the game changer in defense, I think.
Yeah, him next to Machida, dude. Machida barely played at the Asian Cup. Like, it's
And
unbelievable.
he's so good at Royal Union Saint Joa as well. Watching him a couple times, he's a baller for them.
He's a beast, man. It's crazy.
Mm.
And finally he's getting game time because Hiroki Ito probably went down too. So because 2 CBs went down, finally Machida gets a chance. It's like, oh wait, this guy's actually class.
Well, just
That's
shows you the
where that's
depth of the
where
That just shows you the depth that they have.
Moriyasu, bro. It does my head in on a regular basis. But all right, guys, I think we're going to end the episode there. Those are your takeaways from basically all of Asia. This was not at all constricted to the last two games.
We could talk for 3 hours.
Yeah, I literally have so many more notes here, but for the sake of time, we are going to end it. Maybe we'll do another episode in a week or so once international football's kind of calmed down and everybody's back to their regular schedule. So if you want to see that and all the other Asian content here on Dead Ball TV and on Michael Talks Football, make sure you subscribe to both channels. Drop a like on the video. Let us know your takeaway down below in the comments. We'll see you guys in the next one.